Hey there. You sent in this video, and it was about, well, feeling empty, even when you've achieved all those, those traditional markers of success. And it really struck a chord with me. I'll tell you, it's like we're living in this kind of strange paradox, right? So we're going to dive into this YouTube video. It's called "You Have Everything, So Why Are You Unhappy?" It's by The Rational Mirror. And well, let's see if we can kind of unpack, why this emptiness exists, and maybe even find some potential solutions, right?
Yeah, and what's really interesting about this video is, it highlights this fact that as a society, we've made, incredible strides. I mean, think about it. We have technology, comfort, and entertainment that, were just unimaginable to past generations. And yet, these feelings of emptiness and a lack of meaning, I mean, they're becoming more and more common. It's almost as if, it's like humanity has, climbed to the top of the mountain, planted its flag, and now they're wondering, what's next?
Yeah, it's like this, I don't know, it's like this collective winner's fatigue almost. The video uses this analogy of like an Olympic athlete who wins the gold medal, but then they just feel lost.
Yeah.
Without the next big challenge. I mean, think about it.
Yeah.
We're no longer, fighting for basic survival like our ancestors were, right? I mean, look at us now. We're grappling with all these, internal struggles, these struggles of meaning and purpose. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. And that shift, right? That shift from external struggles to internal ones. It's actually pretty significant when you think about it. I mean, for millennia, humans were preoccupied with all these tangible threats, right? I mean, you had wars and famine and disease and these external enemies, right? They provided clear and unifying, which was, survival. But as the video points out, the absence of a, clear enemy or immediate survival challenge, well, that might actually be contributing to this, this sense of aimlessness.
Yeah, it's like, well, if our basic needs are all met,
right,
and we're not consumed with just surviving, well, it's only natural to start asking yourself, what's the point?
Right, and for a long time, I feel like the answer seemed pretty straightforward. Mm-hmm. You follow the sort of post-war blueprint: mm-hmm. Get an education, secure a stable job, get married, buy a house, raise a family, and boom,
happiness achieved, right?
But I'm sure we all know people who've checked every box on that, and they still feel like something's missing.
Right, and that's because, well, security and comfort, they're essential. They're essential foundations for sure. But they don't automatically equate to fulfillment.
Yeah.
They're the bare bones, mm-hmm. just the framework. Think of it this way: imagine building this beautiful house, right? Yeah. But you never decorate it. You never fill it with life, with laughter, and with experiences. It might be structurally sound, mm-hmm. but it wouldn't feel like a home. You know what I mean? That's a great way to put it. So if security alone isn't the answer, how do we even begin to understand this disconnect? This disconnect between our achievements and our happiness. Mm-hmm. Because the video seems to suggest that. Well, part of the problem lies in how we perceive happiness itself. Right?
Yeah, and it raises this crucial question: Do we believe happiness is something external, something that just happens to us, or is it something internal, something that we actively cultivate?
The video it dives into this whole concept of external locus of control versus internal locus of control.
Yeah.
It's like, are we just waiting for someone or something to make us happy? Or are we taking charge of our own happiness? Yeah. And honestly, I think most of us, we fall somewhere on that spectrum.
Yeah.
It's almost without even realizing it.
Yeah, it's easy to to fall into that trap of externalizing our happiness. Like take that example the video gives of someone who's hung up on their ex, right? They might believe that their happiness, that it was entirely dependent on that one person, and so without them they feel lost, incomplete.
Or the aspiring artist who's always saying, someday I'll start that project, but they never actually do. They're just waiting, for the perfect moment, the ideal circumstances.
Yeah.
For someone to discover them instead of just, creating and putting their work out there.
Right. And of course, there's the classic example of blaming all these external factors for your own personal struggles, like a bad boss, a toxic friend, a lack of opportunity. It's like they're just, they're searching for something outside of themselves to explain their unhappiness.
Okay, so we've established that relying on external factors for happiness. Mm. Well, that might be leading us down the wrong path. But how do we actually start to cultivate that internal sense of fulfillment? What steps can we take to break free from this cycle of emptiness?
Well,
like, how do we even begin?
Well, a big part of it, is recognizing that we have agency, that we have the power to choose. The video, it kind of dives into this idea that a lot of us, we're living somebody else's script. We're unconsciously following these paths that were laid out by our family or by societal expectations, or even countercultural movements.
I think that's such a powerful point, and it can be a tough pill to swallow sometimes. I mean, we like to think that we're making our own choices, but how much of what we do, how much of it is really driven by our own desires versus what we've been conditioned to believe is right or successful? You know what I mean? Like, is it really rebellion if you're just conforming to a different set of expectations? Precisely.
The video, it really challenges us to examine these deeply ingrained beliefs that we have and ask ourselves, is this truly what I want? Or am I just playing a role? It's like we're all, actors on a stage, but some of us, we're just playing parts that were written for someone else entirely.
So if we are, if we are stuck in these sort of predetermined roles, how do we break free? How do we start writing our own scripts? The video seems to suggest that finding meaningful work, that's a key ingredient in this, in this journey toward fulfillment.
Absolutely. The video, it makes a very compelling argument, I think, for pursuing work that you genuinely love. Not just a job that pays the bill. It's about finding something that aligns with, with your values, your passions, your unique strengths, and it's not it's not just about feeling good, right? It's also about producing better results. Remember that example in the video about the baker?
Oh yeah. The baker who loves their craft. Yeah. Well, they're going to make far superior bread. Yeah. Than some miserable accountant who's being forced to bake. Yeah. I mean, when you're passionate about what you do, you put your heart and soul into it, right? Yeah. And that translates into quality.
Exactly. And this idea of pursuing meaningful work, I mean, this is becoming increasingly relevant, especially in today's rapidly changing world. I mean, with the rise of AI and automation, a lot of traditional jobs, well, they're at risk of becoming obsolete.
So maybe this shift, this shift towards finding work that's more aligned with our passions, maybe it's not just a nice to have, right? Maybe it's a necessity for the future.
It's an interesting point, isn't it? As more and more routine tasks, as those become automated, well, the skills that'll be most valued, well, those are the skills that are, uniquely human, like creativity and critical thinking, problem solving, emotional intelligence, the very things that are nurtured, when we're engaged in work that we find meaningful.
Yeah, it's almost like this potential crisis of automation. It's forcing us to reconsider.
Yeah.
Our relationship with work altogether, it's pushing us to discover what truly motivates us, what makes us come alive.
It's a powerful shift in perspective for sure. And it ties back to this whole idea of, of taking control of our lives instead of viewing this, this technological disruption with fear. Well, maybe we can see it as an opportunity, an opportunity to redefine what work means to us, to find greater fulfillment in what we do.
Okay, so we've talked about the paradox, right? And the shift in struggles, the outdated blueprint, the need to cultivate an internal locus of control and the importance of meaningful work. But where do we go from here? How do we actually start taking control and designing a life that truly aligns with our values?
Well, it starts with asking ourselves some tough questions, like what truly matters to us? What are our core values? What brings us joy? What kind of impact do we want to have on the world? And these aren't these aren't just questions to ponder passively. They require deep introspection and an honest self-reflection.
I can see how that could be a daunting process for some. It's almost like staring into a mirror and asking, who am I? And what do I really want?
Yeah.
It can be, it can be scary to confront those big existential questions, especially if we've been living on autopilot for a while.
It's definitely a journey, and it's not always easy, but the video, it emphasizes that the answers we seek, well, they're ultimately within us. It's about peeling back the layers, the layers of societal conditioning, external expectations, and even even our own self-doubt to uncover our authentic selves.
And I think it's important to highlight that, taking control of your life. It isn't about, becoming selfish or self-indulgent. It's not about, throwing all responsibility to the wind and just chasing, fleeting pleasures.
Yeah. That's a common misconception for sure, but it's far from the truth. The video actually argues that that finding your purpose and living in alignment with your values, well, that makes you a more valuable contributor to the world. When you're fulfilled, you have more energy, more passion, more compassion to share with others. It creates this ripple effect.
That makes sense. I mean, think about it. When you're genuinely happy and engaged in your life, well, you're more likely to inspire and uplift those around you, right? You become a source of positivity and creativity, and that can have a really profound impact, on your relationships, your community, even the world at large.
It's like that old saying, right? A rising tide lifts all boats. When we focus on our own growth and fulfillment, well, we naturally contribute to the well-being of others. It's not a zero-sum game. It's a collective journey, right? Towards a more fulfilling and a more meaningful existence.
So taking control of our life and finding our purpose. It isn't just about, personal happiness. It's about contributing our best selves to the world. Okay, so we've established that, that it's important. It's vital even to take control and design a life that we love. But where do we even begin? It's one thing to talk about these concepts, but putting them into action, I mean, that can feel overwhelming. Well, the video, it doesn't lay out a step-by-step plan,
Right.
And I think that's intentional. I mean, everyone's journey is unique, right? But it does emphasize, the importance of taking action, even if it's, even if it's just a small step. It's about experimenting, trying new things, and seeing what resonates with our souls. That's a great point. It doesn't have to be this, this huge life-altering leap. It could be as simple as signing up for that class, the one you've always been, curious about, or starting that side project you've been, putting off, or even just having an honest conversation with yourself about what you truly want out of life.
Exactly. And it's about being patient with ourselves too. This journey of self-discovery. It's not a sprint. It's a marathon, There will be setbacks, moments of doubt, times when we feel, lost. But the key is to keep moving forward, even if it's just one small step at a time.
Okay, so we've talked about the importance of introspection and taking action and being patient with ourselves. What other insights does the video offer about this process of taking control?
Well, the video, it highlights this quote from the philosopher Jean de la Bruyere, and he said, "Happiness is not an easy thing, very difficult to find it in ourselves, and impossible to find it elsewhere." And I think that quote it really encapsulates the core message of the video.
That's a powerful quote. It reminds us that we can't rely on external sources for lasting happiness. It's an inside job, right? We have to cultivate it within ourselves.
Exactly. And that's where this idea of meaningful work, it comes back into play, right? It's not just about finding a job that pays the bills. It's about finding something that aligns with, our values, our passions, our unique skills and talents. It's about contributing our best selves to the world and finding a sense of purpose in what we do.
Yeah, I'm starting to see a pattern here. It's not about, achieving some arbitrary definition of success. It's about, defining success on our own terms.
Yeah.
And creating a life that feels, authentic and fulfilling.
Precisely. And it all starts with, taking ownership of our lives,
Right.
making conscious choices. And being willing to step outside of our comfort zones to pursue what truly matters to us. It's a continuous journey, and it requires courage, resilience, a deep belief in ourselves.
So it's not about finding a quick fix or a magic formula for happiness. It's about embarking on this on this lifelong journey of self-discovery and growth.
And it's about remembering that we're not alone on this journey either. The video it emphasizes the importance of connection, of community, and finding support from others who are also on this path of
self-discovery. That's such an important point. We don't have to figure it all out on our own.
Yeah.
There are people out there who understand, the struggles, the doubts, the triumphs of this journey.
Yeah.
And by sharing our experiences and supporting each other and learning from one another, well, we can make the path, a little bit easier to navigate.
Absolutely. And sometimes all it takes is a little nudge, right? A spark of inspiration to ignite that inner fire and set us on the right course. And who knows, maybe this conversation has been that nudge for our listener today.
I hope so. And even if it's just, even if it's just planted a seed, well, that's a powerful thing because sometimes the smallest seeds, they can grow into the most magnificent trees.
Well said. And on that note, I think it's time for us to wrap up this deep dive into the emptiness paradox.
But before we go, I just want to say a huge thank you to our listener for sending us this, this thought-provoking video. It's given us a lot to ponder, and I have a feeling we'll be revisiting these ideas for a long time to come.
As always, it's been a pleasure exploring these concepts with you. And to our listener, remember the answers you seek, they're within you. Trust your intuition, take those brave steps, and keep moving towards the life that you were meant to live.
As we've been talking about this feeling of emptiness, it's interesting to think that maybe, just maybe, it's not a problem to be solved.
Yeah.
But an opportunity waiting to be embraced. What if this sense of emptiness is actually a sign of progress?
Ooh, that's a fascinating perspective. It really challenges, the way we typically view this whole issue. Instead of seeing it as this negative thing, we could reframe it as a signal. A signal that we're ready for something more, that we've evolved beyond just focusing on survival and basic needs.
Yeah, it's like for most of human history, we've been playing this game on easy mode, just focused on securing food and shelter and safety.
Right.
And now, well, for a lot of us, I mean, those basic needs are met, right? So we've leveled up. You know what I mean? And the game's become more complex. It's requiring us to engage on this whole new level.
Yeah, it's like we've reached the top of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Those fundamental needs, right? Like physiological, safety, belonging. I mean, they're largely satisfied for people. So we're naturally driven towards self-actualization, towards fulfilling our potential and finding meaning.
Yeah.
Meaning beyond just surviving.
So instead of feeling defeated by this emptiness, maybe we should be excited about the possibilities it presents. It's like a blank canvas, inviting us to create a life that's truly fulfilling and aligned with our unique values.
Yeah.
Right?
And it's not just about individual fulfillment either, is it? This collective sense of emptiness. Well, this could be a catalyst, for positive social change. I mean, we have the potential, we have the resources, we have the technology, right, to create a world where everyone's basic needs are met. And maybe this emptiness is like a call to action.
Yeah.
It's urging us to work together to build a more a more equitable and sustainable future.
Yeah. I love that reframing. It's not about wallowing in despair. It's about it's about harnessing this energy, this yearning for something more and channeling it into something positive.
Yeah.
And impactful.
It's about recognizing that we have a responsibility, not just to ourselves, but to each other and to the planet, this emptiness, this yearning. It's a shared experience, and it has the potential to unite us, to inspire us, to create a world that's more just, more compassionate, more fulfilling for everyone.
Yes, it's almost like this emptiness is a sign that we're evolving as a species. We're moving beyond the limitations of scarcity and survival,
right?
And stepping into this new era of abundance and possibility.
Exactly. And that's where the real adventure begins. It's about embracing the unknown.
Yeah.
Experimenting, trying new things, discovering what truly lights us up. It's about giving ourselves permission to fail, to learn, to grow, to create something, something meaningful and impactful.
So for our listener who sent in this video, right? Maybe they're feeling this emptiness, but they're also feeling a spark of possibility. Maybe they're starting to ask themselves those tough questions like, what do I really want? What kind of impact do I want to make on the world?
And maybe, just maybe, this conversation has given them a little nudge, a little more courage, to pursue those answers. Because at the end of the day, that's what this is all about, isn't it? Helping each other find our way to create lives that are both meaningful and fulfilling.
Absolutely. And on that note, I think it's time for us to wrap up this deep dive into the emptiness paradox. But before we go, I just want to say thank you to our listener for sharing this, this thought-provoking video with us. It's given us a lot to ponder, and I have a feeling we'll be revisiting these ideas for a long time to come.
As always, it's been a pleasure exploring these concepts with you. And to our listener, keep searching, keep questioning, and keep creating the life you were meant to live.
Until next time, stay curious.